You are now working on your stamp band. You made your silver band and you learned how to solder. You did your maker's mark and you did the mandala to learn how to stamp. And now it's time to incorporate those two things into a stamp band. So if you go to 2D and stamp band design sheet and you click on it, it has instructions: download and print the worksheet below. Complete the worksheet. Guidelines. The purpose of this worksheet is to teach you how to create good 2D design and patterns for your stamp band. You will be graded not only on the completion of the worksheet, but also the quality of the work presented. So you need to take your time and map out and draw your designs carefully and intentionally. So let me just quickly go over this worksheet so that you know exactly what to do and the expectations of that. So here's the 2D design worksheet. It talks about the vocabulary of shape, orientation, scale, and variety. Shape, the vocabulary, the shape: squares, circles, triangles, ovals, rectangles, right? Orientation: is it horizontal or is it vertical or is it diagonal? Okay. Then you have scale. Scale is size and proportion. So you have really big and then medium and small. And these are only, we only know that the one square is medium because it's compared to the large and the small one. And we only know the small one is small because it's compared to the medium and the large one. So it's all within the information you're presented with. And then variety, right? Different shapes, sizes, and so using different shapes, different orientations, and different scales. Okay? So that's variety. Now the directions is, now that you know the vocabulary, you're going to take this and you're going to make your own pattern. And we kind of did this with the mandala. We're going to take this even further. So we have stage 1, and this is just the repetition of shape. Notice we started with the center and branched out from each one to make a simple pattern. Now stage 2 is a repetition of shape, and with a variety, repetition of shape with a variety of size. So we still have almost the exact same pattern, but we added these smaller squares. And then stage 3 is repetition of shape with a variety of size and orientation. So this is showing we have the squares, and then we twisted them and made them bigger or smaller. And so those are kind of some examples. Now what you're going to need to do is, in the squares provided in these 4 squares, you're going to use the prompt for the 1 and 2, use only 2 shapes and create 2 unique designs below, focusing on a variety of size and orientation. So in the example, they used a square and they used a circle, and they changed the size and the orientation of the different shapes. So you have the 2 big squares on the sides, and then you have the circles, and they made you can't really change the orientation of a circle. So they just use the size, they changed the size of the circle, and then those squares. And they did that. So on 1 and 2, you would use 2 different shapes: a square, a triangle, an oval, an octagon, whatever. And you're using these dots to kind of gauge and kind of space out correctly your design. Now, number 2, or the second one, is a variety of shapes, size, and orientation. So in this one, we changed, they had ovals and circles and squares. And once again, they repeated it, but changed the size, and they changed the orientation. And you're going to make 2 different designs with 3 different shapes on each design. Very similar to the mandala, but you're just using shape, and you're just using basic shapes. Now, once you have a basic understanding of manipulating the shape and the size and the orientation, it's now time to apply it to what we know, to those stamps. So you're going to take you're going to go to the next page and stamp design practice. If you see, these are all of the stamps that could be used for the stamp band, and it's 1 through 42. And these are actually the exact size, or relatively close to the exact size of the actual stamps. So they're going to be small, but and that's kind of to give you an idea of really how big your stamps are going to be. So below you're using the stamp design and you're going to follow the prompts similar to the previous page. And so in this one, it had use 2 stamps and create a top and a bottom border and a middle fill. So we have a top and a bottom border across the top and the bottom, and then we use the flower for the middle fill. And we use stamp 35 and 31. Okay, so that's the example, and I drew them, or I placed them. That's the exact size of the band, and the stamps are in proportion, and so you can change that. You can't change the proportions of the stamps. You can't make them bigger or smaller, but you can change the orientation. You can change the how the repetition. You can change the orientation so it's sideways or diagonal. But now you have 6 stamps that you need to make, each one with a different prompt. So you will fill these out using the stamps 1 through 42. And as you use those, you'll write them down. Once again, you're going to be graded on not only on the completion, but on the craftsmanship and on the purpose. Was it purposeful, or did you just quickly do it and just call it good? It needs to be well thought out, and draw the designs nicely. You have the 3, if I zoom in, we have these dots here to help you space things out accordingly. Okay, so be aware of that. Use that time, or use those indicators. So going back, you will print this off and you will complete it. When you are done, you will take a picture of the front and the back, like we showed. You'll crop out anything that isn't the actual paper, and then you will submit it on Canvas right here. So that is the 2D and stamp band design sheet.